This is Share the Vision, presented by the Resource Center, a discussion of the programs and services of the Resource Center and about issues related to individuals with disabilities. Today, we are outside the Resource Center's administrative offices on Dunham Avenue at an event called It Matters to Me. Steve Watterson, Community Relations Director at the Resource Center, lay the groundwork for what's happening around us here right now.
Well, that is what we're doing. We're having our first agency-wide picnic. And we're doing this in celebration of National Direct Support Professionals Week, which is taking place this week. And what we wanted to do was provide an opportunity for all of our staff, the individuals with disabilities we support, their family members, to come on down and join us for a hot dog lunch. And fortunately, we're blessed with a beautiful day. And really just kind of say thank you to our DSPs, but also give everybody the chance to come together and have some camaraderie. Along with that, our state association, which is NYSARC, has a awareness campaign called It Matters to Me, and they are asking, the Resource Center is the Chautauqua County chapter of NYSARC. NYSARC is asking all of its chapters across the state to gather the personal stories of people with disabilities and their families and the folks at agencies like TRC that provide those direct supports to talk about issues that are important to them, mainly in the areas of trying to persuade the state to consider providing additional funding for enhanced, expanded residential services for people with disabilities, for better wages for our direct support professionals, and for the state to please keep work centers, like our big work center facility on Jones and Gifford Avenue, as an employment option for people with disabilities, rather than continuing along a path where the state wants everybody with a disability to have full-time employment in the community, which is a great goal, but not realistic for everybody.
So these are real concerns for agencies like the Resource Center being expressed in a really very festive atmosphere here today.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. As I said, we got the sun is shining, beautiful warm day, so people are having hot dogs, they're enjoying potato chips and cookies and water. They're picking up, we got special T-shirts made up this year to give out to people. So people are doing that, and then we've also got the video camera set up, and we're recording those personal stories of individuals with disabilities and their families and our own staff, and we'll be sharing them with NYSARC, who I imagine will then be sharing them with the governor and representatives from the Senate and the Assembly as they get ready to go into session.
Some of these themes have been expressed before. They are not new. They have emerged over the last couple of years or so. Do you have the sense that the Resource Center and other similar agencies across New York State have made any headway on these, Steve?
Oh, absolutely. I think if you remember several years ago, the governor wanted to cut funding to so-called voluntary providers like the Resource Center. Voluntary simply means that we're not a state-operated facility. They wanted to cut funding to voluntary providers for services for people with developmental disabilities by $240 million. And there was a rallying cry that went out across the state. Folks from the Resource Center went to Albany to protest this, and we got those funding cuts eliminated with support from elected officials, including our Senator Kathy Young and Assemblyman Andy Goodell. So they are very much in our court on this, and we are, it's always a battle, and just trying to make sure that the interests of the folks with disabilities and their families are kept in the forefront of our lawmakers as we go forward.
Well, Steve, we're going to meet some people here today who will talk about why it matters to them, so stay tuned. Two things before you meet the first interviewee. First, this program did occur on a very warm, sunny, summer-like day in September, not that long ago, behind the Resource Center on Dunham Avenue. The second, I would ask you to listen very carefully, particularly to the first couple of interviews. I did not have the digital recorder that I use set exactly right for the busy, noisy circumstances behind the Resource Center, so you'll have to listen quite closely. Will Snyder, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, Will, you're here today outside at the Resource Center as part of this event, and there are great T-shirts, by the way. The theme is, It Matters to Me. So tell me about your experience at the Resource Center.
My experience with the Resource Center and bringing, again, what it matters to me. I've worked for the agency for 13 years, and we've seen a lot of changes. A lot reflected with budget cuts, and supports from the states that we wish, would be there, that we're hoping will come back.
Way off.
But primarily, what's kept me in this field is just changing people's lives every day.
What's the nature of your work here at the Resource Center for 13 years?
I spent 12 years as a direct support professional, and as of a year and a half ago, I was promoted to life coach and SLS manager through individualized services and self-directed services. And what we do is assist individuals who are looking to leave group homes or, living in family situations where they want to move out on their own, in their own self-supported apartments, and we assist them with hiring their own staff and, showing them that it's okay to run your own life and to be your own individual.
The back of the T-shirts says, "It matters to me that individuals with disabilities and their families receive the supports that they need." Why does that specifically matter to you?
It specifically matters to me because without the full support from the state and the federal governments and retaining what budgets that we do have to work with so that we can properly help the individuals for their success in life.
Well, thank you for spending some time with us here today, explaining why it matters to you.
Thank you very much.
The Resource Center's Will Snyder. The next voices you hear will be familiar if you're a regular listener to Share the Vision. From Silver Creek, first Wayne, then Elaine Hotelling. Wayne Hotelling, why does it matter to you?
Well, I think it matters to me because we have some of the best people employed here that work for us that are underpaid because there's just not funds available. And when the governor of New York State can support $15 an hour as a minimum wage, and yet we have people that are working way below that here and doing what they do for the people that we serve, and our daughter is one of them. It really is something that needs to be addressed and needs to be taken care of. So it matters to me for the people that we have serving our daughter and for our daughter. And it also matters to me because I really believe that it seems to be the senior citizens and the disabled that are the first to have programs cut.
Wayne and Elaine, your wife, are both here. You are famous for your daughter, Laurel Hotelling. Laurel Run, the extraordinary achievement of her life as a person with Down syndrome. Elaine Hotelling, why does it matter to you?
Well, as Wayne said, Laurel now lives in a group home, so we've seen firsthand how the Resource Center seems to be a training ground, and it's a good training ground. It gets these people, the hands-on workers, a good basis, but then they have to move on to something that is more state paid, and so then we lose that good person, and then somebody else comes in. And it's just as a person learns the habits and the wishes of the disabled person, it seems like they've just gotten acquainted, so they have this good rapport with each other, and then the aide has to move on because of salary problems.
It was difficult to hear Elaine, so let me summarize. She and Wayne, together, as their daughter Laurel has lived in a Resource Center facility, have seen qualified people come, learn to do the work of a DSP, direct support professional, or other related job, helping persons with disabilities, and then, once they attain a certain level of skill, they do not stay, because the level of compensation does not reach that of other potential fields for them. So they move on. So let me read the back of the shirt again. Across the way from me here, it says, "It matters to me that individuals with disabilities and their families receive the supports they need." It sounds like what you two are both saying to me is that families, individuals cannot receive the supports they need if the people who support them are not adequately compensated.
A good example of that is the closing of the work centers. Now, Laurel has been employed by the Resource Center for over 30 years. She has a paycheck. She takes pride in coming home and showing that to her siblings and letting them know how important it is. Socially, she has friends, and it's not just a job to her. It's a very important part of her life. And I really think that it's a good thing to get people with disabilities out into, the private sector, working with jobs. But there are many of them that can't do that and won't be able to do that. What is going to happen to them? And what has happened the past 2 years since the work centers have been closed to new people coming in? Many of them today are still sitting around at home, and parents don't know what to do.
Wayne and Elaine Hotelling of Silver Creek, the parents of Laurel Hotelling, for whom Laurel Run is named. Now meet one employee at the Resource Center, someone who's well known in the community for her other work, and we'll identify that shortly. Her name is Wendy Wilcox. Wendy Wilcox, why does it matter to you?
It matters to me because the people I support matter. Their lives matter. We are concerned about the pay that DSPs receive because it causes turnover, and those of us who love what we do would like to be able to pay our bills on our pay and be able to stay in the jobs we love and not have to leave for other jobs. We also are concerned about the work centers because it's so important for the people we support to be able to leave and go to their jobs each day and perform a function that's making a difference. And without the work centers, many of them would have no job to go to.
Talk about your role in the Resource Center and how you came to be a part of all of this.
I am a substitute direct support professional, also a behavior support professional in one of the homes I work in. And 8 years ago, when I needed a second income, I was looking for a job that would be flexible with my other busy schedule and my other job. I found the Resource Center, and it quickly turned from a job to a love. I work there because I love to be there.
And the nature of your work, it sounds like, has changed, has developed. Your passion for this has grown over the time that you have done it.
It certainly has. When I began at the Resource Center, I really began by asking a couple people who worked here if they thought it was a job I could do, not knowing really anything about it. Once I came to work, found out what it was about, I have grown to love everyone that I support so much, and I really enjoy all of the fellow employees. It's just a place at the end of a stressful day when I can come and work a shift at night at the Resource Center. It lifts my spirits. It makes me go home smiling.
Wendy, you are known in the community as a banker, someone who works for M&T Bank, and working for the Resource Center is your second job, as you say. But let's turn this around for a moment. If it were your only job, would you be sustained adequately enough as a direct support professional to sustain yourself?
I would not. My career at the bank basically pays the majority of my bills. My career at the Resource Center helps to fill in the gaps. If I were to leave the bank and work full-time at the Resource Center, I probably couldn't afford my mortgage.
So that just represents how challenging it would be for people who are trying to build careers as DSPs, direct support professionals, the entry-level position here.
Yes. In fact, at one time I inquired because I was so intrigued by the different areas in the Resource Center and the needs that they address. I inquired about what kind of schooling would be needed for certain things. And I found that, truthfully, the people who do some of the work here that matters the most, even after an education, are not paid well enough to really survive.
I can understand now why it matters to you. Wendy Wilcox, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dennis.
Today on Share the Vision, some of the people who are at an agency-wide picnic outside the Resource Center's administrative offices on Dunham Avenue back in September. The rest of the interviews, I think, will be a little easier for you to hear. I'm here with two people who can speak to some of the issues that have been raised at this picnic event today. One of them is Mark Morton. And Mark, you're an Assistant Executive Director.
Assistant Executive Director for Employee Relations.
Thank you very much. And Denise Jones, who's the Chief Operating Officer at the Resource Center, has taken up the job of cooking hot dogs today, so I'm going to interrupt you just long enough to join in this conversation.
Okay, hopefully I won't burn too many hot dogs, although some people are requesting those. Yes, staff turnover is an issue for us and the people that we serve. Imagine you having different people coming into your house that you don't know, coming in to take care of some of your personal needs or to assist you in this daily living skills that you need to learn and address. So turnover is always something that we try to keep an eye on and try to make sure we keep it minimized. But obviously, a lot of our positions are entry-level positions, so people look to move within the organization, but oftentimes we're competing with local manufacturers or fast food, which creates an issue for us because our positions, while they're very fun and very rich and rewarding, are very demanding, and there's a lot of regulation and a lot of details that our direct support professionals have to attend to in caring for the individuals that we support.
Now, Mark Borton, the people that you hire at entry-level positions are paid above minimum wage to begin with.
Yes, they're above minimum wage, but they have a lot of responsibility. They have a difficult job, and they actually have one of the most important jobs that they could be in society is assisting other people, working with other people that have needs. So, the pay isn't really commensurate with their level of responsibility and what we ask to do, but a lot of them are here because they love what they do. They're committed to the mission, and they stay because of the satisfaction they get from the work they do. But we do lose some people to higher paying jobs. So we're trying to work on employee engagement, make sure recognition. Today is an example of recognizing direct support professionals and the hard work they do. And it's been brought about the fast food workers making $15 an hour, and that's fine and good, and then people make a living wage, but our staff are deserving of a higher wage too for what they do, and we're kind of tied to the funding that we receive. We receive the funding for a lot of our positions through the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities, and we're tied to what they provide. So
what would be the ideal situation in terms of how this would resolve for you, with more money from funding, more state funding to help you pay better wages? Is that the key issue in terms of employee retention?
That's one of the key issues, definitely.
Are there others?
I think, sometimes it's a job that isn't for everybody. It is difficult. It does take a commitment, and sometimes people will start in a job and realize it's not for them, and that's fine and good. We want people who are committed to our mission, committed to working with individuals with developmental disabilities.
Mark, this may be difficult to answer, but if you were to hire 10 people as direct support professionals today, how many of them do you suspect would be here? Denise could ring in on this too if she wants to. How many of them would be here a year from now at the next It Matters to Me picnic? Would there be 8 or 5 or 2?
I would say maybe 5 or 6.
So you'd lose 40%?
Yeah.
50%?
Yeah, that's possible to lose, yeah.
That would. Denise is shaking her head up and down. That's probably about right.
Yes, that's about right. Typically when someone's been with us for a year, we can retain them. Some of the other things that we really try to do is create and develop a career path for individuals. So they may come in as a direct support professional, but we have career paths that they could become medical aides, they can become medical support professionals, they could become behavioral support professionals, which would allow them to take a career path to earn higher wages for taking on additional responsibility. We also have many educational advancement opportunities for them to become supervisors or take on additional roles within the organization. We are very supportive of the credentialing process for direct support professionals as well, which gives them additional opportunities to earn more money.
Well, thank you both for your time. I appreciate your comments, and this is certainly a great picnic and a great day for it.
Thank you.
A festive atmosphere with a serious message at the It Matters to Me picnic in September at the Resource Center behind their administrative offices on Dunham Avenue. Speaking there, Denise Jones, Chief Operating Officer of the Resource Center, and Mark Borton, Assistant Executive Director for Employee Relations. Don Trainer, give us your title here at the Resource Center.
Well, I'm a staff development specialist here at the Resource Center, which means I have the privilege of helping to support people who support others. I help people with new hire training, and I help people with staff development as they hone their professional skills in support of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities every day.
How did you begin your career here at the Resource Center?
I began my career at the Resource Center because the grass stopped growing. I was mowing some lawns, deciding what I was going to do and which path I would take after I graduated from Fredonia State, and I answered an ad in the paper that said, do you love going out to eat? Do you love camping and fishing? I said, that sounds good to me. I answered the ad as a part-time job, and what I found was there was a whole lot more going on. It was really something that became a passion and eventually grew into my profession, and I don't think that I would ever leave this field now.
You were a direct support professional to begin with.
I sure was, yeah. That's how I started, as a direct support professional, working every day with people to help support them in their lives, to contribute to their community and grow and learn throughout their life, and really be people that are able to access the world in which they live in a way that's going to help them feel great, benefit, and have those great lives that people deserve.
The theme of the day is It Matters to Me. Why does it matter to you, Don Trainer?
It matters to me because a lot of what's been happening over the years is just good, but it's not good enough. And one of the main things that gets in the way of not good enough are subjects and topics like people not being able to access employment opportunities, people that require supports of a variety of levels that are not able to get those supports because sometimes the people that provide those supports are not able to afford to continue to do a job that they're very good at and that they love for extended periods of time because it doesn't really pay a livable wage anywhere in America, and that's a problem. We want to make sure that what we do moving forward is something that's going to really develop direct support as a profession and enhance and validate the fact that what people do every day really requires high skills and competence and really is intentional and purposeful and really means that people have to be on their A game and develop throughout their career. So that's what I try to help people do for their career here.
One of the themes that's emerged during the day here is that you never stop training here at the Resource Center because you never stop losing people.
Well, that's true. That's part of it. There is turnover, but there's also a great need because of increased opportunities and programs that are out there for people. So it's not just that we can have a set number and that's all we ever need. We're always expanding and growing with regards to the opportunities that people are offered, and that requires more people to help support them in those efforts.
So, Don, are you confident that this program statewide will have some impact?
I think it will, because I think it's important for people to hear from the people that are, on the ground, point of impact, point of contact, places where quality really matters. We do have a lot of legislation, we do have a lot of regulation, plenty of policies and procedures, things that are very important and vital to what we do. But what really matters is that point of contact. And we want to make sure the people that do such a great job at that point are able to do that for a long time.
Well, Don, thank you for your passion and for your comments.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.
Don Trainer, Staff Development Specialist at the Resource Center. There are still a couple of more people I have time to introduce you to on today's Share the Vision. I'll have you say your name for me again.
Pennifer McCartney.
Pennifer?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Pennifer McCartney, what is your work here at the Resource Center?
I am a supported living specialist, also a DSP, for the Individualized Services Department for the Resource Center.
How long have you been doing this kind of work?
I've been with the Resource Center for 12 years, and prior to that, I worked in special education in public schools.
Pennifer, what is the nature of your day-to-day work in terms of how you help the consumers of the Resource Center? Just kind of encapsulate that for me.
I meet with my consumers in their homes, and we go out and we actually work on life skills and integrating out into the community, and we work on banking, budgeting, shopping, and taking care of their homes so they can live an independent life.
And these are persons with intellectual or physical disabilities?
That is correct.
Who mainly live independent lives?
They do live independent lives. Some of them do live with their families, but some of them also do live independently, but just need that extra help out in the community so they can be more independent.
The theme of the day here is It Matters to Me. There's been real concern expressed through the voices who have spoken on this program so far about the compensation that persons who do direct support professional work and work like that receive, retaining good people. Could you speak to some of those issues for me?
Sure. I think that really a lot of people come into this line of work don't realize that there is a lot to it. There's a lot of compassion. There's a lot of physical things that need to be done and helping and doing. And for as frustrating as it is, that one little glimmer that we have of achieving a goal and seeing a sign of independence is really quite worth it. But there is a lot of hard work that goes into it that people don't see.
And it is not a high-paying job, at least to begin with.
That is correct. It is not a high-paying job. And actually, I do it because I've had the love for working with people with intellectual and physical disabilities since I was a junior in high school. And it's been a very rewarding field to me, whereas I love my job. Maybe the pay's not there, but I love what I do.
So it's really commitment. It's something of the heart that keeps you connected to this.
Correct.
But for those people who are coming in, trying to build a life, young people, establish a family, it might be difficult for them to do that.
It might be, but I have a family, and I have a very supportive family that has helped me through all of this from day one back 20 years ago when I started working with disabilities and that. And though the pay isn't that super, but hopefully your rewards outweigh it at times.
Pennifer, I don't want to keep you from your hot dog any longer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Pennifer McCartney on Share the Vision today at the It Matters to Me picnic. Now, we just have time for you to meet one other person who was there. As Steve Watterson pointed out earlier in the program, they were collecting stories of people who were, in one way or another, connected to the Resource Center and asking the question that I've asked on this program. Why does it matter to you? Meet one other employee of the Resource Center.
Hi, my name is Tristan Wassman. I work at the Allied Industries Work Center at the Michael J. Raymond Center in Jamestown, New York. And my job matters to me because it makes me feel like I'm a valued member of the community. It gets me out of the house and experience in the workplace. And what I think a lot of people will agree with me on is this one important thing. Money, 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 money. Money. And so, yes, the Resource Center has really helped me over the past 10 years now. I lived at Benedict for 6 years, and they helped me to get to the point where I am now, where I have my own apartment. And I would like to kind of thank Wendy Stimson for that. She's the site supervisor over at Bus-Dine now. So, yes. And thank you for listening.
Tristan Wassman, an employee at the TRC Work Center behind the Michael J. Raymond Center on Jones and Gifford Avenue in Jamestown. If you'd like more information on the It Matters to Me NYSARC campaign, I encourage you to contact Steve Watterson at the Resource Center. Otherwise, thank you for sharing the vision today.